I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. As a disclosure, this video is sponsored by Sega, but more on that later. Game number 154, Rocket Robot on Wheels. Released in 1999, this game was developed by Sucker Punch Productions and published by Ubisoft. This is a game I personally hadn't seen before, and a lot of people watching hadn't either. However, the studio that made this game was very well known. I didn't realize this is the same company who made Sly Cooper, Infamous, and Ghost of Tsushima. Apparently this is the first game they ever put out, so that's definitely a good sign. It's a pretty generic game title, so I could see why it was unnoticed back in the day. I'm sure this is going to be a pretty good one. Let's get into it. The game has a single player story mode, so that's what we'll be doing to beat this game. It opens with a cutscene to set the stage. We play as a robot named Rocket. A scientist looking guy says Whoopee World is opening tomorrow and he wants me to watch over the place while he goes out and parties. He tells us to make sure to take care of the walrus Whoopee and the raccoon JoJo. He gets ready to leave and we see JoJo holding up some plans to convert the park to JoJo World instead. Before we can tell the professor, both Whoopee and JoJo have escaped. JoJo knocks us out with a hammer and takes Whoopee hostage. It's our job to save the day. Then I was in control. Right away, I moved to a spinning thing with an A on it. The game says these are tickets. There are a bunch in each level and we need to collect them to open new areas of the park. Through the first door I found Tinker. He can give me upgrades and open new levels for me. For now, he's opened the first one, Clowny Island. I then found a gold coin, which the game said is a Tinker token. There are 200 in each world and I can use them to purchase upgrades. So now I'm in the first level wandering along the beach. There was a big spinning thing that it said was a machine part. Each level has one and I need to find all 7 parts to fix them. A few seconds later I found a screw that the game said was lost. Rocket can pick up certain things with a beam to attract it. However, this clown robot stole it from me, so I decided to give up on that dream. Once I'd obtained 50 Tinker tokens, I was able to drive around in the Dune Dog. The physics for it are honestly pretty solid, better than several racing games on this console. Next, I found a booster pack under a dock on the beach. This increases my max health by 1. If you can't tell already, this game is a huge collect-a-thon. Clearly some inspiration from Rare games with all these different things to find. One feature of this game is a lot of sub-areas within main levels. There's an attraction here related to bees, and this area is just super colorful and cool looking. The obstacles are designed great for the physics of the game too. I was rewarded with a ticket at the end. So with the Dune Dog, I had to drive along the beach and go through rings. Eerily reminiscent of Superman 64, except this time it's actually fun. There was another challenge with the Dune Dog where I had to race another robot in his little roadster. The icons to mark the route remind me of candy corn. I wound up flipping the dog over and I didn't realize at the time I could flip it back. Rip that run. Winning the race got me another ticket. There's a bunch of little challenges like this in each level to earn them. I won't show every single one, but just know there are a lot. I left the level for now and had enough tokens for Tinker to give me my first upgrade. Now I could pick objects up with the beam and slam them. That gave me the key to open up more of the park. Back into Clowny Island, I started bringing those missing screws over to the platform that was missing them. During that, I tried to grab this mole and he didn't really appreciate that, so he launched me across the map. Anyway, I brought the final screw over and the roller coaster was repaired. Then came a part I think a lot of people remember from this game. They have a coaster builder pretty similar to something you'd see in a roller coaster tycoon game. The space is quite limited, but it's cool to mess around with, I think. You can ride your creation and there are a few collectibles to obtain. It's an interesting puzzle because you have to place the track in certain patterns to reach each one. Once you've built it once, 5 numbers pop up in the editor. You have to build a track that goes through all 5 in order, and it's harder than it looks. I spent like 15 minutes or so wrapping my brain around this one. Honestly, I love this. This level also contained a minigame house. I could play Tac Toe where it told me to please not harass the chicken. There was another where I had to throw balls at cats to knock them off a fence, and there was a rather odd third where I had to throw fruit into the Mount Rushmore presidents' mouths. Not sure where they got these ideas, but I had to do all 3 to earn a ticket. I'll take this time to talk about the graphics and music. I think the graphics look great for the N64. It's got that classic early 3D polygon look and plenty of vibrant colors to make everything look unique. It seems they really put a lot of effort into the designs of textures for levels to make them pleasant to look at. The game runs at a high, stable frame rate as well. The music's pretty sick too. It has a lot of pipe organ sounds in it, and it gives me vibes of Space Station Silicon Valley. There is one annoying thing with the audio though. While the camera control is fantastic in this game, it makes this annoying sound every time you manually move it. I really wish they didn't do that, or maybe made it a much softer sound. I decided to move on from the first level and went to the next, Paint Misbehaving. It's like an ancient Roman themed environment. These sheep I found look just like the ones from the Spyro games. Part of the level was blocked off by a large door. I had to find 3 pieces of the emblems on it to open it. Past here was a ticket along with a brand new area of this place. In the water here I found Finbot. I guess it's supposed to be a shark or a dolphin. You can zoom through the water with it, but I just beached it instead. Whoops. So there was a decently interesting puzzle here. Since the level's called Paint Misbehaving, you'd think there's something with painting or colors, right? Well, this guard won't let anyone in unless they're wearing the proper uniform. So I had to jump in the colored pools to make Rocket be painted the same way he is. He said his eyesight isn't the greatest, so that explains why he lets us in. Here's a weird one. These sheep stick to this ledge if you throw them at it. No idea why, but hey, I didn't make the game. Up here's the hover splat. With it, I can launch paintballs at whatever I want. Now I could go to this room where these floating orbs were being electrocuted. I had to recolor them to get them in the same order as the electrodes on the ground. Got a nice little ticket as a reward for doing it. Then there was a small puzzle to paint some various statues the correct color. You know, like a tree being green, a carrot being orange, and a banana being black. Another easy ticket earned, but this time it also spawned a rather large temple. Within here were some cogs to platform on. This was the first use of Rocket's tractor beam as a platforming mechanic. I thought this usage of it was really cool. Normally it's for picking items up, but the devs realized it could be used in an alternative way. I think that's so clever. Hey look, I brought this sheep underwater against its will. I'm sure it can breathe fine down there, right? After terrorizing the sheep, I found the 7th machine part. Remember how I said there's one of these on each level? This is typically the main objective. Doing this raised the water, opened an electrified gate, and spawned a ticket for me. Now with the water elevated, I could do a ring race with Finbot. The vehicles generally control quite well in this game, but this one's probably the most awkward, I'd say. Poor Finbot is just getting launched in the air and forced to flop around down this slope. I feel like this room is a great example of how the platforming in this game is just designed so well. The physics are so smooth, it feels cleaner than any other one I've played on this console so far. Plus, all the obstacles have a good bit of variety and make you feel like you're accomplishing something cool. Anyway, all of that stuff was leading up to reaching this high area with a ticket. The Finbot segment was the main area. I still hadn't gotten everything, but I decided it was good enough for now and left. Tinker was waiting for me outside and gave me the ability to double jump because I'd obtained 200 Tinker tokens. Oh snap, now I can reach all kinds of cool stuff. A good use case for this was nearby. None of these jumps are possible without double jumping. Aw man, I just love using the tractor beam for jumps. This game is so fun. Now I could reach the switch to open level 3. JoJo's getting real mad that I'm progressing through the park. He tells me to go fall down a mine shaft. Wow, dude, that's kinda mean. Now it's the 3rd level, Mind Blowing. Here, Rocket can find some explosives to blow up the walls. You know, normal stuff you do in an unstable mine. I found these mushrooms in a cave that grab onto you. By jumping 3 times, they let go and send me flying in the air. I had my first death here. Rocket just kinda falls over then disassembles himself. But then you respawn at the start of the current level, so it's all good. Not too big of a penalty. The vehicle in this level is the beam lift. It lets me grab and move all the large objects in the area. Kind of an underwhelming one in my opinion. It doesn't really do much in terms of movement, more letting you reach areas by moving slowly. I'm not sure if I did this the intended way. Moving this cage moves the ticket inside with it. I figure you need to flip it over somehow, but I just kind of angled it on this rock and I was able to sneak inside. Hey, it worked, didn't it? Now I found this minecart that reminds me of that minigame in Mario Party where it's like impossible to not tip over the edge. I suppose this could also count as a vehicle for the level in a way. I thought this part was really cool where the cart's forced to tip over, so you've got to abandon it temporarily and jump along these lamps. At the end was a door that opened when I pulled on this rope. However, it closed before I could reach it, so I tricked a clown robot into holding on to it for me. What an idiot. I got a bit sidetracked here and went back to old levels to reach 450 Tinker tokens. Tinker gave me the freeze ray, which lets me create blocks of ice to stand on for platforming. I didn't have enough tickets to activate level 4 yet though. Back in the mine level, there was an area with these gemstones that I had to throw all over the place. For some reason, colliding the same colored gem with what's in the wall causes an explosion. Doesn't really make sense, but okay. Also, I call shenanigans on this explosion radius. I was so far away from that! Come on, dude! There's no way I was in range to take damage there. This idea with explosions makes sense thematically with a mine level, but it wasn't my favorite. Blowing up those walls gave me my 25th ticket, and now I could open level 4 by going on this carpet. It's called Arabian Flights. There was this rather tedious section where I had to throw bombs at swinging targets to extend the ground. The timing on it's pretty strict, which I wouldn't mind, but sometimes the journey to bring the bomb to the target is a bit longer than I'd like. The way this level works is taking this flying carpet around to various buildings for challenges. This thing controls fantastically. This level reminds me a lot of the wing cap stage in Mario 64. Of course, gotta have an objective to go through all the rings with the vehicle of this stage. This time we're flying though, so it's awesome. This building had me throw this crate at the wall while a magnetic field was active. It wasn't clear that's what was happening, so I was stuck for a bit. Reminds me of sticking the sheep to the wall in level 2. In the overworld, there was a cool section where I had to jump on each of these platforms to raise a notch to open a barrier. When I landed on one, it would fall, so I had to use each one once. Good thing I understand the concept of Hamiltonian paths, cause this was easy. This one had me fly the magic carpet to all these weird colored platforms where a propeller would raise the roof of them for a short time. It's tough to make it quick enough, mostly because I kept forgetting where the next one was. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to get the ticket from this owl. I spent a good half hour on and off chasing this thing and finally touched it. I feel like that's not intended though, because that was way too tight. Okay, this part was kind of annoying. I had to use the freeze ray to create those ice platforms, no problem. Except there's a current pushing them towards these electrified gates and it's just way too long. One mistake and it's all the way back to the start. No idea how I made it past this whirlpool though. The ice block was moving so fast. So finishing the machine parts here caused these orbs in the main area to levitate. This revealed a rather annoying room where the wind is constantly pushing up. A lot of time this caused me to accidentally leave the area. Well, I'd had about enough of that level for now. I went back to Tinker with 650 tokens and he gave me my final upgrade, the grapple. It wasn't really clear what this did for now though, because I tried grabbing a token with it, but it didn't work. To my surprise, when I did grab that token, it warped me to a completely new area. I had to throw these screws into the panels on the outside of the arena. I thought I had it second try, but little did I know, you can still die after the ticket spawns. So the grappling hook can only be used at these specific pads for it to connect to specific points. I feel like this was a missed opportunity here on this game. It'd be cool if this thing had more use, but it's still decent. I didn't have the 40 required tickets to open the next level yet, so I had to backtrack. When you pause the game, you can scroll over each ticket to see what you're missing, as well as receive a hint as to how to earn it. I ended up going back to level 1 and fixing the machine there. This powered up the Dinosaur, letting me inside. Just like Sega's powering up by sponsoring today's video. Atlus is releasing their latest game, Persona 3 Reload. It's a reimagining of the pivotal game of the Persona series, faithfully rebuilt with modern graphics, quality of life features, and the signature stylish UI. It's the perfect place to get started with the Persona franchise, as the story is self-contained. You don't need to have played any previous Persona titles to enjoy this one. In this game, you'll explore the dark side of the modern real world where boundaries between normal and supernatural blur. Many games take place in a fantasy or sci-fi world, whereas Persona 3 Reload takes place in an alternate universe in the modern day. This gives the game many recognizable and relatable experiences. You'll be taking part in several turn-based battles where you'll need to utilize the unique strengths and weaknesses of your persona to achieve victory. You'll need to plan your entire party's actions in each battle. They get more difficult as you go on, and no fight will feel repetitive or predictable. It's the perfect mix of RPG and visual novel. They've weaved together the gameplay and narrative seamlessly. Along with all the battles, you'll forge social connections with many characters and follow along with the storyline that will keep you invested the entire time. Persona 3 Reload will launch February 2nd on Xbox Series X, S, Xbox One, Windows PC, Steam, PS4, and PS5. Pre-orders are available now. Make sure to check it out. And thank you again to Sega for sponsoring today's video. And now back to the Dinosaur. For some reason, there's a pool with robotic sharks in here. Isn't this supposed to be a theme park for people to bring their families to? Whatever. I know it may seem like I'm backtracking to obtain things that were previously inaccessible, but this game's actually not like that. You can fully complete each level whenever you're first able to enter it. I found my 40th ticket and opened the next level. Well, actually, that was a flying thing that brought me to a new segment of the overworld. Weirdly patterned like a chessboard. Here I found the next level, Pyramid Scheme. Early on in it, I found the longest tunnel in existence. Seriously, why does it take so long to move through here? The screws made another appearance in this level. I had to bring them to an island to raise some kind of old structure. See this weird panel on the ground? It zapped me, so I figured it must be something dangerous I should probably avoid. This would screw me up later on. These panels here wanted me to input some kind of passcode. However, there were 4 entries and only 3 choices for each. That's only 81 possible combinations, so I did a pro gamer move known as brute forcing. Not sure how you're supposed to figure the code out. This opened the JoJo carving's mouth where I found a ticket. Wait, why is the solution to the puzzle in there? Is the intended way to brute force it? Next, I fixed the machine in this area. This caused these day and night switches to become active. Nighttime is a bit different. You know, the entire place becomes an active volcano somehow. Totally makes sense. This level kind of reminds me of the one in Donkey Kong 64 where it changes between night and day. Really makes this even bigger than it already is. This part was pretty interesting. During the day, a platform would be spinning continuously. When I swapped to night, it would be pointing wherever I left it in the daytime. I had to keep doing this to obtain all the items in the area. Oh hey, I blew up a boulder to let me into the JoJo statue's mouth at night. Oh, I get it. I was supposed to obtain the code at nighttime, then enter it in the daytime. Oh well. This room had me jumping along these spinning platforms in a room full of very dangerous lava. No problem for Rocket though. He only takes 1 point of damage when landing in it and has very generous iframes. Must be made of 40% dolomite. So remember that thing on the ground that zapped me? Yeah, it turns out this is actually very important. It launches you in the air and only the outer part zaps you. Why did this even need to damage me? It made me incorrectly assume this was something I wanted to avoid, so I wasted a lot of time. This brought me to a flipping tiles puzzle. You know, where you flip one tile and it causes all the adjacent ones to also flip. This took me an embarrassingly long time to solve, but I got it. Well, I flipped it all to JoJo, but luckily it's easy to change to the other side if all are the same. I don't know what was going on with the camera at this part, but this was jank as heck. I guess I'm fortunate the bridge fell and I was able to just climb up anyway. Inside the main pyramid at nighttime was a rising lava climbing section. I'm telling you, the physics in this are just top notch. It just feels so clean. Getting through here unlocked this level's vehicle, the glider bike. I feel like a lot of people hate driving this thing, but I kind of love it. Sure, it's tough to get used to, but once you do, it's so fun. It can drive around like a normal bike, but it can also spread wings and fly. My first attempt flying with it was not so great. It's tough to get used to for sure. I'm telling you though, once you do get used to it, you can do some real cool stuff. I kind of love how open-ended this area is. I went back to the main world because I needed 65 tickets for the next level, and that's where I was missing the most. I sure had a lot of fun going through this disorienting tunnel. Only broke my brain a lot. I feel like this was cheese because these jumps were incredibly tight, but I actually made it to the next level without the ticket gate. It's called Food Fright. This level is themed around food, mostly candy. The mushrooms make a return, but they are marshmallows this time around. Getting one on this candy cane platform allowed me to reach a tricky ticket in a cage. Early on, I found all the machine parts, which made the spider thing in the middle of the level start moving. I'm sure that's good for me. Oh yes, it is good. These things come down to various points in the level, and I could use them to maneuver my way to higher sections. What wasn't helpful was this candy cane tube. It just sent me back to the start. What's up with that? It's like that snake and Getting Over It. I found this disgusting green troll in the main building. He kept asking me to feed him various candies. I knew it was bad for him, but I kept enabling this behavior anyway. Sure enough, he got too full and exploded. Knew that would happen. At least I got a ticket. This level's vehicle is the Spider Rider. It's one of the more underwhelming ones. All it does is let you safely traverse the poison water. It's cool, but it doesn't do anything interesting with it. Still controls well though. This part was cool. There were various candies on the ground of different sizes. I had to put them in this mouth to move the marker to line up with the gold tooth. Each one had a certain weight, so I had to figure out how much each one weighed. I thought it was clever. It was an interesting choice to use spiders as the thing you tractor beam onto. Fits thematically for this poison area though. Well, now I had achieved the 65 ticket requirement and I went to open the last level. JoJo was ready for me and welcomed me in. He was sitting in some kind of clown robot and taunting me. He said this place is now JoJo World and it has some safety issues to work out. May as well test them on Rocket. So this level's separated into 7 different sections. The first is just a platforming gauntlet. Some new tricks show up here, like this narrow platform that spins around as you run on it, or these super fast swinging things that you tractor beam to grab. I like this final level a lot. In section 2, that guard from Paint Misbehaving showed up again. I had to paint myself, only the way you get painted is a bit more tedious this time. These jets of paint launch across and it's way harder to only paint one half of your body. Once you do get painted though, it's smooth sailing, as long as you don't get blasted by a paintball on the way there. Section 3 had me on top of that weird twisting platform. This was quite awkward to make sense of, but it was easy enough after a bit of experimentation. So now I had to throw a bomb at this wall which revealed a red fan. Would have been nice to know it was going to destroy the ground from under me, but okay. When you fall, you go back to the start of the current section. I had to throw bombs to break each piece of it, then I could pass. Section 4, I had to use the freeze ray to go around a whirlpool. Feels like we've seen this one before. Then there were these magnet platforms that just felt so weird. I had to move to one side of them to rotate it, but it was kind of forcing me to the middle? Even in video games, no one knows how these things work. Then I had to throw some crates at floating magnets to reach the other side. Section 5 had some rocks on spinning lava, along with a column in the middle to climb. It's like they're doing callbacks to all the previous levels. Classic final level design. I ended up dying at the end of this one and yeah, this stinks. You get sent all the way back to the start of the entire level. Reminds me of the final boss in Donkey Kong 64, just to make another reference to that one. When I got back, I was on section 6 and there was a tilting web platform along with a ton of spider legs. It felt impossible to get past and I was taking heavy damage. Oh, I was supposed to use the bombs to blow the legs up. That makes more sense. So once I got past here, JoJo apparently didn't have section 7 finished. He told me to stop going any closer because it's not ready yet. As I kept getting closer, he kept offering me revenue shares for the park. First 70-30, then 60-40, and then 50-50. He then told me to definitely not touch the big ball. So naturally, I touched the big ball. I rolled it further and further until it destroyed the entire thing. A cutscene plays where JoJo gets squashed by the cage Whoopi was held in. Then Whoopi also squashes him. The scientist guy comes back from his drunken night out and thanks us for saving the day and all that jazz. He then notes that I didn't get all the tickets and tokens and teleports away, leaving me with a ticket. So I liked this game so much I wound up 100%ing it. You don't really get anything special for getting all the Tinker tokens, but getting all the tickets gives the true ending to the game. We also learn the scientist is named Dr. Gavin. Would have been nice to learn that earlier, I don't know, maybe I missed it. He says we've saved the day and they're ready to open. Because of all our hard work, he's renaming the park to Rocket Land. Poor Whoopi. After that, the credits play. Or at least, you play the credits. I think this is really neat. There are screws bouncing around where the heads of them are the various devs' pictures. You can pick them up and yeet them across the room too, which is awesome. You know, I think having unique credits like this is really cool. Mission Impossible did the same thing. But yeah, that's about all there is for this one. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it, my journey to beating Rocket Robot on Wheels. This one was pretty awesome. I had literally never heard of this game in my life, and without this challenge, I probably never would have. A true hidden gem. Granted, I am a big fan of platformers, so I'm a bit biased. But dang, I've certainly played some bad ones on this challenge too. The level design was great, the graphics were fantastic, and the music was very fitting. All of the required challenges varied quite a bit, and there weren't too many repeating things. The main thing I like though is the physics engine. It's just top notch. Like, there are really no problems with it at all. The camera works beautifully, and I have to imagine some devs took notes from this game for it. Hopefully not the noise it makes though. I think if this game had more branding with a cool character like Banjo or whatever, it would have sold like crazy back in the day. The title Rocket Robot on Wheels isn't exactly appealing, you know? Sucker Punch Productions definitely had their success after this game though, so that's good. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 4 out of 10 for difficulty. Alright, we changed up the way we pick the next game. If you don't care about it, then just go to the timestamp on screen to see which one is next. Here's where I usually thank you for watching the video and show you the random number selection to choose the next game. However, this time something different is happening. I know, people don't like change, but this is a good change, I feel. So I used to play this game called Marbles on stream, where marbles would race along all kinds of wacky tracks with chaos, and it's hard to tell which one would win. Anyway, the reason I'm saying this is someone in my community had the idea to try this for picking the next game. It turns out this game supports adding names to the marbles with a CSV file, so I can give each marble the name of one of the remaining games. I thought this would be a fun way to choose which one's next, and this is when I tried it out. For those of you not following along with the live progress, I beat Rocket Robot on Wheels on October 29th, 2022. Yeah, I know, the videos take a long time to make. It's hard to keep up. So anyway, from this game onward we select the games in this way. Yeah, I know, the "what's that?" kind of became a running joke, but I like this better. We're going to try showing the full race in this video, and I still don't really know how to present the selection for these yet. Maybe most people don't care about watching the race happen and just want to see the next game, but yeah, here's how the next game was decided. We've got 235 marbles in here, or 237. Alright, let's go! And they're off, the marbles, all coming down. It is chaos, I have no idea. I see asteroids. I didn't even know that was on the N64. We got a few people, NBA Hang Time, some Japanese game, International Superstar Soccer. People have talked that one up. You're going to see here, they're going to kind of toy with the idea of going in this hole. Not quite committing to it. They're all a little scared. We'll see who goes first, and they're down. Down we go, and International Superstar Soccer is in the lead. Buck Bumble as well, Mortal Kombat. Could we finally see Buck Bumble? Super Bowling Star Fox 64 I see as well. Let's see, International Superstar Soccer in the lead. Super Bowling as well. Super Bowling is actually a very expensive N64 cart. The next Doraemon game, and we got a ramp. This is dangerous. International Superstar Soccer falls to the bottom. Super Bowling on the top, so we got split paths here. FIFA as well, 64 Azuma, that's a Japanese title. Super Bowling out of control, and just absolutely Superstar Soccer also falling. Dark Rift, NFL Blitz, no, who will survive? NFL QB Club, what is it going to be? All-Star Baseball. And it's All-Star Baseball has been decided. The next All-Star Baseball game is what we are playing next. Oh my god, folks, that was crazy. Alrighty, it has been decided. So we got, this would have been 10, what's that? I don't know. It's different, but it's exciting. So we're playing All-Star Baseball 2000.